Everyone thought Emma Reed was gone. She was only 17, kind, quiet, the kind of girl who smiled more with her eyes than her mouth, and she loved sketching strange things. She could never explain abandoned houses, empty playgrounds, broken clocks. She said they made her feel less alone, but on one stormy night, while driving home from art class, her car slid off the narrow bridge into the cold dark river below. They said it was quick, that she didn't feel a thing. They said she died before. They even pulled her out. Her mother begged the doctors to check again, but there was no pulse, no heartbeat, no breath, and the monitor showed nothing but a flat line. For 2 long days, her body lay in the hospital morgue. Her mother refused to leave. She said she could still feel warmth in Emma's hands, that maybe the machines were wrong, that maybe her heart was just quiet. But the doctor said, sometimes grief makes you believe what you want to believe, and so they signed the papers. The funeral was set for the next morning. It rained that day, the kind of rain that feels heavy and endless. The sky gray, the air cold. Her little brother carried a rose to her coffin, whispering, "Wake up soon, Em." Before placing it on her chest, everyone said. How peaceful she looked, too peaceful. Her lips soft, her skin still glowing with life. Even the priest paused when he saw her face and muttered under his breath that it was like she was only sleeping. The choir began to sing. The mother sobbed quietly. The coffin lid slowly closed, and for a moment, everything was still until a faint sound came from inside. A small, hollow knock, then another and another, followed by a muffled, desperate cry. "Let me out." The priest froze. The gravedigger dropped his shovel. The crowd gasped, and someone screamed. Her mother rushed forward, clawing at the coffin with her bare hands, shouting her daughter's name. And when they pried it open, Emma sat upright, gasping for air, her hair tangled, her eyes wide, as if she'd just woken from a nightmare. The crowd stumbled back in horror. Someone fainted, someone cried, and her mother fell to her knees, clutching her daughter, whispering, thank God," over and over again. At the hospital, Emma's heart was beating perfectly, her lungs working fine, her temperature normal. She was alive, but her memory was gone. She didn't remember the crash or the river or anything after art class. When the doctor asked her what was the last thing she remembered, she said softly, "A man in white told me I wasn't supposed to be there yet." No one knew what she meant. They assumed it was a dream. But Emma didn't sleep after that. She said every time she closed her eyes, she could hear knocking, faint, slow, rhythmic, like a heartbeat behind the walls. Her sketches changed. She no longer drew houses or clocks. Instead, she drew doors, hundreds of them, each without handles. And at the edge of every page stood the same tall figure, a man in white gloves, watching her from the corner. When her mother asked about him, Emma only said, "He made a mistake, and he's coming back to fix it." Her mother tried to comfort her, but Emma grew quieter every day. She began writing names on scraps of paper, names of people she didn't know, at least not in this world, and every morning the news reported that one of those people had died the night before her mother begged her to stop. Emma smiled faintly and said, "I'm not writing them, I'm remembering them." One night her mother woke to hear Emma talking softly to someone in her room. Her voice calm, steady, almost peaceful. She said, "I understand now. I wasn't meant to wake up. I'll go back." When her mother opened the door, Emma was sitting by the window looking out at the rain, her eyes glassy, her lips moving, but no sound came out. Her mother stepped closer and saw tears running down her face. She whispered her name, but Emma didn't turn around the next morning. The bed was empty, the window open, curtains swaying in the cold air, and on the desk lay a single drawing, a coffin half buried in the ground, and beneath it, in shaky handwriting, the words, "Don't be afraid if you hear me knock again." They searched everywhere, the woods, the river, the churchyard, but she was gone. No footprints, no signs of struggle, nothing. 3 days later, the cemetery caretaker swore he heard something in the night, tapping from one of the graves, soft at first and louder. He said it sounded like someone Gently knocking, asking to be let out, he ran away terrified and refused to return to work after that. Her mother tried to convince the police to dig up the grave, but they refused, saying it was impossible, that Emma had already been buried weeks ago. But her mother knew she had never seen the coffin go into the ground. She had fainted that day before they lowered it now. Every night she sits by her window, listening to the wind. She says sometimes she hears 3 knocks against the glass slow, steady, gentle, just like before, the same rhythm she heard on the day her daughter came back to life. And each time it happens, she whispers into the darkness, "I'm sorry for bringing you back. I know you were never supposed to wake up." Some people say life and death are opposites, but maybe they're just rooms next to each other, separated by a thin wall. And sometimes when the door between them opens, someone gets lost, someone crosses over by mistake, and wakes up in the wrong one. Maybe that's what happened to Emma. Maybe she saw the other side and came back when she shouldn't have. Maybe the man in white wasn't a dream, but the one who guards that door, the one who decides who stays and who leaves. And maybe when she returned, he followed to take her back. They say the night is quiet in that town now, but sometimes during the storms, when the wind stops for a second and the rain falls slower, the people living near the cemetery claim they hear faint tapping from underground, slow, rhythmic, steady, 3 soft knocks followed by a whisper, "I'm awake," and then nothing but silence, as if the world itself is holding its breath, waiting for someone to answer. So, if you ever find yourself standing near a grave and you hear a knock from the dark, don't open it, don't lean close, don't whisper back, because sometimes the dead aren't gone. Sometimes they're just waiting for someone to let them out again.